Welcome back to Catholic Lunch Break here on AM 1430. This is the weekly program where we catch up with all things Catholic in the greater Houston area. This is Wyatt Goolsby, Executive Director of this radio station, KSHJ. Our Holy Father, Pope Leo XIV, greeted Eastern Catholic pilgrims at the Vatican back in May. It's got us here at AM 1430 thinking more about Eastern Rite Catholics, and we wanted to learn more about their unique customs and liturgies. So we invited a member of our local Ukrainian Catholic Church in Houston to tell us more about those traditions. Joining us on the program is Steven Nowak. He is a subdeacon at Protection of the Mother of God Ukrainian Catholic Church, which is located in Houston, Aldine area specifically. Steven, thanks for coming on the program. We're glad you're here.
Thank you, Wyatt. Glad to be here.
Yeah. Tell me about, for people who are unfamiliar with this term Eastern Catholic or Eastern Rite Catholics, tell me just in general, what do we mean by that?
Yeah, so within the one universal Catholic Church, we have 24 particular Catholic churches that comprise the one universal church. You have the Latin Church, which is the biggest out of all the 24, but then there's also the 24 Eastern churches, and the Ukrainian Greek Catholic Church is one of those 24. Those Eastern churches mostly have been churches that originally with their Orthodox counterparts had schismed over the results of various councils, say like the Council of Chalcedon, or the Council of Ephesus, or later on, say like with the Greeks after the Ottoman Muslims took over and conquered Constantinople. But the 23 groups are those that were part of Oriental Orthodoxy or Eastern Orthodoxy, but then over time have reunited with the Roman Catholic Church, and so we have full communion with the Latin Church and with the Pope of Rome now.
Very good. Well, it's so beautiful to think about some of these different liturgies and traditions in the Eastern Church that are preserved, again, while remaining one body, one communion as a church. Steven, you joined, again, the local Ukrainian Catholic Church in 2019.
Yes, I did.
You are a subdeacon. Now, explain to me what a subdeacon is. I can imagine you probably get a few questions about what that entails.
Oh, yes. Yes. These days, that would be understandable. Originally, to get to the priesthood and the diaconate, a man would have to go through. The man would first have to get tonsured, in which the bishop would take a little bit of his hair as a sign of obedience and introduction into the clerical state. And then a man would have to pass through a few different steps before he could be ordained to major orders, starting with the diaconate. And these minor orders vary between church traditions. Even within the Latin Church here, you had the four minor orders that you had to go through before getting to subdeacon: porter, lector, exorcist, and acolyte. And a man would have to receive those four in order before a man could then be ordained a subdeacon, and then later as a subdeacon ordained to the diaconate. And in the Greek tradition, we also have our own progression of minor orders before you can get to the diaconate too. For example, 3 years ago, in May, actually 2 years ago, in 2023, at our cathedral in Chicago, I was I was tonsured and ordained a candle bearer or acolyte, and then a cantor, and then a reader.
Hmm.
And then last year, and then May of last year, I was as a reader, I was ordained a subdeacon, and a subdeacon is the last step of minor orders before major orders, and the role of a subdeacon is to assist the priest and the deacon during the divine liturgy. Now, what he does vary between churches. For example, he seems to have a much more expanded role in the Mass in the Latin tradition than he does in the Greek tradition. But within the Greek tradition, what the subdeacon does depends on whether a bishop is present offering the divine liturgy. If it's just a regular divine liturgy, say at your parish with a priest, then he's basically takes the role of head altar boy, and but when the bishop is there offering a hierarchical divine liturgy, then that changes. He has a few other duties. For example, holding the two sets of candles that the bishop will use to bless the people at various times, the triereke and the diareke, and also washing the bishop's hands during the Trubek hymn, to name a few things.
Yeah. Well, that's so interesting to hear about all those different specific things that a subdeacon could do, and also hear about all these different titles and roles. You're right. I bet that your churchgoers for Latin Rite masses may not even realize there are all these other titles and stuff, even before you get to the level of deacon and priest. So it's so interesting to hear about that. And like I said, it's a tradition that goes back hundreds, of years. So then I'm glad you mentioned the fact that it is a divine liturgy at the Ukrainian Catholic Church, because I specify that between a Mass, which is what's normally called in the Latin Rite, for example, Archdiocese of Galveston, Houston, in your group, which I believe is under what we call an eparchy, in this particular case an archeparchy, which is kind of like a diocese.
Well, eparchy, diocese, same thing is essentially.
Yeah, exactly. That you guys have this tradition called the Divine Liturgy, which, while it has a different name than the Mass, it's important to note that it's very similar in the sense that you have a liturgy of the Word, you have readings, and then you have a liturgy of the Eucharist, right?
Yes.
So that's really important to note, but it is called Divine Liturgy. I also want to just specify, I know that in many of these Eastern Rite Catholics, there is such a respect, like we have in the Latin Rite, for what happens on the altar. It's so sacred and so holy. When you're up there, Subdeacon Steven, and you're helping serve in various roles as a subdeacon, how special is it for you as a person of faith to be able to serve so close to the real presence of Christ up there on a sacred altar like that?
Yes, and it is a very big privilege to be able to do that. For those listeners who are unaware, in the Greek tradition, we have what is called the iconostasis, which is a wall of icons that provides a separation between the nave and the sanctuary, and generally only the ordained or those kind of subbing in for the ordained as altar boys are generally allowed behind the iconostasis. So being there in the altar there, as you're standing on the side there, you get to see everything as it happens. As another example here, during the second half of the Divine Liturgy, with the epiclesis, the people are out in the nave singing, we praise you, we bless you, and yeah, we praise you, we bless you, and we thank you, and we thank you, O Lord. While inside the priest is busy saying the words of epiclesis, where the Holy Spirit comes down upon the gifts of bread and wine, and they become the body and blood of Christ, and there's a little dialogue that happens between the priest and deacon in this exchange here, and as I said, it's really a privilege to be able to witness it and to see what's normally you don't get to see, because in the East unlike in the West, where there's an emphasis on more seeing than being heard. In the East, while we take a more mystical outlook, where you're not able to see it inside the iconostasis, but at the same time, we believe that the change is truly happening there. So you can hear it, but you can't see it. Just a little different different philosophy, but it's all legit.
Yeah. I appreciate your naming some of these terms also, Stephen, because it helps kind of bring us up to speed on everything that's going on. I know when I visited various Eastern Rite Catholic churches, I know that I've seen that wall of icons that you talked about that include all these different saints. So you immediately feel like you're in the presence of a very holy place when you walk into a church like that. I want to back up for a second, Stephen, and ask you just a little bit about your interest in being a part of the Ukrainian Catholic Church, because you yourself are originally from West Virginia.
Yes, I am.
And you had gone to a Jesuit school for college, Wheeling Jesuit. And so you're very familiar, of course, with Latin Rite Catholic tradition. And my question then for you, why do you choose to participate and be a part of the Ukrainian Catholic Church in particular? What is it about that for you personally that brings you closer to God by participating in the liturgy and being a parishioner active in that church?
Yeah, so it's funny that you mentioned my old university, because that was actually what got me into the Eastern churches. I remember in the spring of my freshman year, campus ministry decided to invite all the new catechumens of that year and some friends of campus ministry over to the local Maronite Catholic parish for daily mass.
Okay.
And so it was there that I was introduced to Eastern churches. Later on during fall break, I'm doing some research online, and I find out, hey, there's this Catholic church in my hometown there of Morgantown that my parents never told me about in the 7 or 8 years growing up there.
Mm-hmm.
I really want to check this out. So my parents let me borrow the car and check it out, but I didn't really get into it until I finished my university work and I graduated. It just so happens that the best parish with times for holy days of obligation happened to be the local Ruthenian Greek Catholic Church.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I got to be friends with the priest there. I would help him with computer stuff. He would help me with spiritual stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, he taught me how to serve the Divine Liturgy. So at that point, I gained kind of a bi-ritual nature.
Yeah. And
at my time at university, I also learned how to serve the older Latin Rite too. So from there, I've always had an affinity for both the older Latin Rite and for the Byzantine Rite, which we use in the Ukrainian Church.
Yeah.
And really another reason why I'm part of the Ukrainian Church is is growing up. My father's Polish. While that's not Ukrainian, it's close. I mean, Poland and Ukraine are
Right.
Our neighbors, and being at the parish here, and then my interactions with the Ukrainian, with some of the interactions I had with the Ukrainian parish in Dallas, some of their customs that they had were similar to the Polish customs I had
Mm-hmm.
growing up, and so at that point it both there and with the Ruthenian Greek Catholic Church, it just felt like it felt more like home.
Yeah.
But here, with the church here, when I got here, I arrived on Pentecost 2019, and my first Sunday there, it was just me and Father in the altar. I was the only server for the day.
Mm-hmm.
And after the Divine Liturgy, the pastor, Father Mikola, brought me out and introduced me to the congregation. Trying to remember his exact words, but it was something along the lines of, "This is Steven Nowak. He's trying to save up some money so he can pay off his debts, and to be able to get into seminary for the priesthood. Please pray for him."
Oh, very good.
And so after that, I got home. I did some reflection, and before that, I also visited some other parishes here in the Houston area, like Our Lady of Walsingham,
Mm-hmm.
Regina Caeli, St. John Chrysostom, and just the reflection. And I was thinking the others seem to have the others seem to be all right, but this Ukrainian parish, I think this is where God wants me. And so I set up shop there, and I came back the following Sunday and continued on. During the pandemic, things got interesting, because their Father made me the head cantor during the pandemic, and because of my past experience as a musician, both on the instrumental side and the vocal side. And I've been at that post ever since.
Yeah. Well, I'm so glad that you really feel like you found a home there, and that Father was so welcoming to you right from the very beginning, right from your first time being there. It's great. And of course, protection of the Mother of God Ukrainian Catholic Church is also very welcoming. I know that there's been some tours there, people who want to learn more about Eastern Rite traditions as well. So it's very interesting to be able to, like I said, hear about these traditions that go back hundreds of thousands of years, all the way back to Christ himself. And so, again, I would urge people to maybe research, learn a little bit more about a Ukrainian Catholic Church. Again, we're blessed here in this country to have so many different types of worship, but again, all under one communion with Rome. So we really appreciate it. Again, Subdeacon Steven Nowak, protection of the Mother of God Ukrainian Catholic Church. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you very much, Wyatt.
Coming up after the break, we're getting excited about the biggest single Catholic event for young people in the greater Houston area every summer, Cafe Catholica. More on that coming up after the break. You're listening to Catholic Lunch Break on AM 1430.